Hi, everybody, it's Weird Wink Wilkinson laughing and scratching at you. How's everybody doing today? I got a little bit of a stiff neck. Let me just fix this up. Oh, that feels a lot better. Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff. I feel so very weird.
There are some things in this world that go way beyond human understanding. Things that cannot be explained, things that most people don't want to know about. That is where we come in.
No human being would stack books like this.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, it looks like you're the one who needs to be taught a lesson, pal. Class is paying 101. The instructor's Casey Jones.
Look, I don't want to fight you.
Well, tough rocks, pal.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I?
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
It's a cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
We have the tools, we have the talent.
It's Miller time.
Luminous beings, so we, not this fruit factor.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Hey, these aren't my rules. Come to think of it, I don't have any rules.
Well, that's great. Either I have a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
You know something? Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Rise to the top, oh yeah.
That's the nicest thing a dog can say about anybody.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point. You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
I've got one that can see.
Sometimes happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you gonna call?
It's showtime.
All right, welcome to Comic Book Radio, everybody. This is episode 308. Can you believe we've had 308 of these? I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. Today, my guest, because this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon over here. Unusual for us at Comic Book Radio, usually on at 9 o'clock at night, but, mix it up. We got Court LALONDE, and he's the guy that runs the Bruins Diehards channel, a channel I love. I love this channel. This dude, his hockey analysis is great. I know you're thinking, this is Comic Book Radio. Why do you got a hockey guy on? Well, he's also a big geek, just like all of us. And you'll notice it as soon as you see him pop up on screen. He's got a beautiful Batman 89 poster in the background. First thing I ever saw when I looked at his channel. And I'll let him know why I even found his channel to begin with. But it's going to be a great conversation. We're going to be talking about comics, movies, games, all kinds of stuff, and also hockey, too. Hopefully he's not too sick of talking about hockey, because I don't really get to talk hockey a lot on this show, and I got to at least talk to him about it for a little bit. So before we get started, let me say hello to a couple of you in the chat here. We got Corey Landis. What's up, Corey? It says, imagine every molecule in your body. You're referencing the Crossing the Streams. Very nice. Very nice. Comics for Life. What's up? Good to see you. All right. We're going to have more of you guys trickle in over time. And if not, catch the replay tonight. We got the man of the hour here. Without further ado, Mr. Court Lalonde. What's up, Court?
Hey, how's it going? It's very probably not purposely, but very Canadian opening there. The amount of Canadian comics, especially with John Candy, one of the greatest of all time at the very beginning, that was awesome. Plus every movie that I grew up watching. I have a Ghostbusters poster and a Ninja Turtles poster to my side right here.
80s Canadians, man, they just kind of dominated.
They kind of in comedy, when you think about it, Canada kind of just dominates.
It's strange.
Like Bill Murray was Second City, Toronto.
Yeah.
Even though he's definitely American, but and then you got Dan Aykroyd. You think about it, Canadian comics. You got Jim Carrey. Just like the list is just really, really long. Rick Moranis, Martin Short.
Why do you think that is?
All those people in your intro?
You got to have a good sense of humor to live in Canada. Why do you think that is?
Maybe it's because we don't take ourselves so seriously sometimes.
All right. Okay.
That's just that is my only and the reason I say that is because Jim Carrey said it once. So I was like, I thought it was a very good quote.
He takes himself very seriously nowadays, though. I think Eternal Sunshine kind of made him go down a different trajectory for a while.
Well, or his mental health went and made him go down a different trajectory.
Hollywood will do that to some, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, like I said, if anybody can see, right there, Batman '89, great movie. I got to tell you, I found your channel because I was looking for some kind of Bruins content to commiserate with after last season, and I didn't really seek out any of that stuff for a long time. But there's something about when things are going bad, you need someone else to assure you that yes, they are going bad. You're not crazy. Come join and let's cry together, let's rage together, and let's hope together. And that's how I found your channel last year. You had some really good content. There's a lot of content out there on YouTube, hockey or otherwise, that I can't stand, to be quite honest. I really liked your analysis, your delivery, your approach. And of course, I saw the Batman poster and thought, this guy must be good people.
Well, I appreciate that. I years ago, I did do a Bruins podcast, and I actually stopped. I had someone working with for family member working with the Bruins organization, and they were let go. And I was frustrated at the time. I was just like, so I quit everything. And then I've been doing video game / nerd culture content for the last 6 years since then. Since that, is it 5 or 6 years ago that person was let go? And last year, right at the beginning of the summer, I was just like, man, I kind of I wanted to talk hockey again. My daughter was really getting into it. And I was like, all right, Bruins Die Hard is something I did a long, long time ago. I was like, I have a channel. I got 20 subscribers. Let's see what I can do. And I put up my first video, and I guess people like it because I think I got 2,000 views in the very first video, and I hit 1,000 subscribers in 3 months. And now I'm close to 5,000 subscribers in just over 2 years.
Wow.
Just over a year. I've been doing it for just over a year.
Which is great for an unofficial channel. You're not affiliated with any kind of news.
Zero. I live in Ontario, Canada. I have absolutely no access to the Boston Bruins here in Ontario. But I will be honest. My dad played with them. My dad played the NHL for 11 years. He played for the Boston Bruins.
Bobby
so I
LaLonde,
do have some inner knowledge of the team and the workings. And if I say I do go to Boston, and I usually go once a year, I am able to go to the game. I can go to the practice facility and kind of have free range. And I do know a lot of people within the game.
Now, is your dad the original Vancouver Bruins connection?
Yeah, so my dad played for the Vancouver Canucks from 1971 to 1977. Yeah, 77. And then he went to the Atlanta Flames. And then in 1979, 2 weeks before I was born, he became a Boston Bruin. And during the Stanley Cup Finals in 2011, my brother was cheering for the Canucks and I was cheering for the Bruins. So I was born actually in the United States. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. But I only lived there for a week because my mom wasn't able to get on a plane. because she was pregnant. And then I grew up in Boston until I was 5, and then I moved to Canada. I've lived here my whole life.
Wow. Yeah, I'm in New Hampshire. I was born in New York. It's not as fancy as it sounds. It's more like Long Island. It's kind of the same. It's not as the same. I guess I was born in Brooklyn technically, and then I was 5.
That's hip, right?
Yeah, you know, before it turned a little bit hipstery and weird. I still have family there, family in both Brooklyn and Queens, but I was raised on Long Island in Levittown, and then moved up to Massachusetts. I don't even know, man. Wow, 15 or so years ago, and then been living in New Hampshire for about 10 years, and I'd never felt like New York was home. It never. I had family in Canada and in Toronto by Bloor Street. You know
Thank
where
you
that
for
is?
saying it correctly. It's like a big thing right now with the World Series. Everybody's trying to every social media person in the United States is like, say Toronto, and they're all like Toronto, and they're like, you're wrong, and I'm like, As someone who you grew up in Mass, I'm just like, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, you got to make those concessions, I guess, when it comes to certain things, but especially pronunciation. But yeah, so
you watch my channel. I screw up people's names all the time. That's
oh,
just my thing. That's my thing.
Hockey's tough though, man. You got international coverage in terms of how to pronounce these guys' names, and sometimes I'll even do it where I'm thinking it's pronounced this way, and I'm like overthinking the pronunciation, and then I hear the pronunciation, and I'm like, oh, it's just really simplified.
I don't know if you noticed. Check out my comments. If I screw up a name, there is I hate that I can't remember the person's name, but I swear they're a linguist because they hop into my comments and they put out the how to pronounce someone's name every single time. Anytime I screw it up, they hop in and they're like, they'll hit me with grammar errors. I'm just like, all right. It makes me laugh. I brush it off. One of the things I do is I literally will talk to every single person in my comments, regardless whether I agree with them or not, or if they're even being rude. I have a guy that literally just comes in to tell me I suck every single video, and I always thank him for helping the algorithm. And I don't think he gets it because he writes back, and I'm just like, the more you write back, the more YouTube's just going to push my video, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people get that, but it's true. I always get at least 1 thumbs down on every video. Someone who consistently doesn't like what I'm doing. I don't know if they watch.
I'm going to say it's
I don't know
the
if
same
they
person on every video.
I don't know if they just visit, they pop in, give it a thumbs down, and then leave. Whatever it may be. I appreciate them having me live in their mind rent free.
See, I have a 1 thumbs down in every video, believe it or not. I have like a 90-something% thumbs up, but I do have a 1 person that comes in without fail and hits every video. And I think I know who it is because they come into my chat and call me an idiot and say I suck every week. And they attack everybody in there, but they don't realize that, you know what you can do to those type of people? So you can't ban someone from a YouTube channel. Well, you can, but it's actually better to mute them. So 1, they can go in there and they can leave comments forever. They can watch your videos. They can like the video. They can dislike the video, but no one sees their comments.
Yeah, that's
true. And
true.
my rule is once you cross the line, you can insult me, but once you insult someone who in the community, because I feel like Bruins Diehards as a community, once you start insulting someone in the community and you go at them and decide that you're above them, I just mute you, and then you're there, but no one can see you. But I can, so I can see all the comments because you can go into your YouTube the studio and you can see them all. And then I'm just like, I just see that the person comes back every single week, no matter what. They don't realize that no one can see them. They can go into the comments in the video and they'll see their own comments, but no one else can see it.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever muted or blocked anyone from my channel. Not that I can remember anyway.
I have. It's just 1 person because they've gone after. It got to a point where one of the people that this person was harassing messaged me, and I was like, yeah, okay. So then I messaged the person. I was like, hey man, there is 0 reason for you to constantly call this person an idiot. But the person could put great video and the guy's like, you're an idiot for saying that. And they just kept doing it over and over again. And I think everybody has their own way to have enjoyment. But at the same time, I was like, all right, dude,
we get
you
that
are
a
going to be
lot.
putting the time out for a little bit. You have fun with it. But you're getting put in a timeout because he crossed the line. He said something about my wife, and he doesn't even know who I am. Doesn't
Come on.
nothing. Oh yeah. I have rules. If you go after my family, I will make your life hard. That's my only rule.
Look at that. You know, it's really weird. There's a lot of crossover, obviously, because of the internet in terms of interaction and stuff like that. We get a lot of that in comics. There's a lot of oddballs out there that go too far. But it's strange on the positive side, strange and in a good way, strange to see that there is so much of this kind of crossover nowadays where you find there's people who are really into sports, but also into comics and movies and all that kind of stuff, games especially. So for you to get on track with where I want to go with you, how did all of this come about? Because now you said that your dad was in the NHL.
Correct.
And you were just a little kid. You're probably not even really aware.
Zero clue. I didn't know my dad played in the NHL until Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'em 3. My dad would tell me, and it was more of like he said it, and okay, cool. I was around 9 years old, Rock'em Sock'em 3. Dating myself here. But we were watching it, and there was the video of the Bruins going into the stands at Madison Square Garden in 1979. Christmas. It was December 23rd. I always
That's
joke.
the one
like,
where Milbury's beating the dude with a shoe. Is that
yeah,
one?
that happened on December 23rd, like pretty much Christmas Eve. So I always say it's like Merry Christmas. I always think of doing a Bruins Diehards t-shirt of just them in the stands and then saying Merry Christmas at the top, because like that's Merry Christmas from the Boston Bruins. But my dad goes, "Oh, that's me right there." And he points on the screen. And I was like, "Yeah, very funny." He goes, "No, that's seriously, that's me." Because there's no internet back then. Like, think about it. There wasn't even a cell phone for me until like college. And it like blew my mind. But that's how I knew my dad played in the NHL. That's the hockey thing. But to get to where you want to go here, my brother is not big into hockey at all. Zero. So when we were young, 1988, I would say. Well, 1985, it started with Back to the Future. It was the very first movie my parents ever took me that wasn't like G. So I saw my grandmother, bless her. She worked for Warner Brothers here in Canada. So I used to get to go see a lot of movies. So I got to see Goonies.
Oh wow.
Space Camp, Flight of the Navigator. I got to go to a lot of premieres of kids movies here in Toronto. And I got to see the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1988.
Oh man.
1989, sorry.
Yeah.
But I also got to see Back to the Future. Back to the Future blew me away because it takes place on October 26, 1985. I was born on October 26, 1979. So to me, it was like, oh my God, one, the movie revolves around my birthday. I hate when they talk about, oh, it's November 15th. I'm like, that is not when the movie revolves around. It starts on October 26th. It always goes to different dates. It's always going back to, that's just me going on a rant about Back to the Future. And I got to meet Michael J. Fox. His favorite hockey player was my dad. So that was like a huge thing to me. So when I met Michael J. Fox,
random. Is it because of the smaller stature of your father?
Yeah, and he's from Vancouver.
Wow.
So Michael J. Fox's favorite hockey player growing up was my dad from the Vancouver Canucks. And then I started watching a lot of movies. So I got really into movies. And then my brother was really into comics. He really liked the X-Men. And I remember, what was it? Mirror Island from the X-Men series. He really liked that. And The Rise of the Phoenix. And we got into a lot of that. And I started getting into Batman in 1989. 1989 Batman came out. I was not old enough to go see that movie. It was rated PG-13 when it came out. I saw it 11 times. I was 10 years old when I saw it. I can actually tell you every line from that movie from front to back if it's playing without missing a beat. Favorite movie by far. I really got into Batman. I started buying all the Batman comics, and this is when everybody was starting to get into comics in 1989. It became big, but I had Death in the Family was 1989, so I got to have see Robin die, and that was huge to me. It was like, I shouldn't be reading this, but I can't go see it in a movie, but for some reason I can just go buy it, and no one stops me from buying a comic. So I got really into darker comics, and then I got into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Laird's depiction of the Ninja Turtles, like we see it on TV. What you read in the comics, as you know, is a totally different thing. It's graphic.
Oh, yeah.
It's very violent. So I was really into Batman and Ninja Turtles, and then the Nintendo came out, and we were in Cape Cod, and the Nintendo actually came out. The NES came out in the U.S. before it came out in Canada 1 year earlier, and we were in Cape Cod at the cottage, and my dad went in and bought me and my brother an NES. Now I was also the kid that could go outside and play road hockey until the streetlights came on, but then I would come in. I would either read a comic or I play video games. So
Where are you living at this point in time?
we were living in Canada at the time,
Okay.
but our cottage was in Cape Cod. So we would come back and spend like a month in Boston every summer, two to 3 weeks. What would usually happen is my dad's family's from Montreal. My brother and I would go to Montreal first, and my grandfather and my grandmother would take us to the cottage in Cape Cod. And the last week, my parents would meet us there. So I would spend a month in the Cape every summer until I was like 15, 16 years old, till we sold the cottage. So I was there a lot. But going to the Cape was always about the car ride, and it was always reading comics. There was no cell phones, iPads. Near the end there was a Game Boy, but like there was nothing you could do. You would bring the Nintendo with us, but I'm reading Batman comics from front to back. I
Man,
still
oh,
to this
man.
day buy Batman comics. I haven't got the new series yet. I think I might. There's no local mom and grop shop near me where I live in Northern Ontario, so
It's hard
for
to
me.
find comics now.
It really is.
Is Silver Snail still over there?
It is, but that is downtown Toronto. That's an hour and just over an hour for me without
okay.
traffic. But I do have Caputo's New 52 #1 Batman. I've got it framed on my wall here. I've also got a reprint of Detective Comics #1, Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man, and an Amazing Spider-Man, but it's a variant with Gwen. My daughter thinks Spider-Gwen's the best, or Ghost Spider, whatever we want to call her. I've got that up on my wall. I've got a poster of The Last of Us. So there's a lot of I guess you would call them Easter eggs behind me. Like the Grogu that's over my hands. It's there. You see it. There's a Grogu, there's a little teddy bear, a joystick. There's a lot of things behind me that people don't see, that they're all like, "Oh, it's only Boston Bruins." I was like, it's a mix. Like there's a Montreal Canadiens hockey puck behind me that no one can tell that I got at the last game at the Forum, and it's behind me. And I've never had one comment about it, which is very interesting considering I'm a Bruins channel. But I've grown
never
up.
noticed that. That's
Yeah, see,
interesting.
now you'll never get over it.
Yeah.
It's right over my shoulder there. Where you see there's a
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky second year, NHL 94. There's an NES, and right beside it is the Montreal Canadiens
that's
game used
funny.
puck from the last game at the Forum.
Because I've noticed the 94 in the NES.
Yeah, right. A Montreal Canadiens hockey puck. No one has noticed. You think how mad people would be if they noticed it? I've got a Boston Bruins game used puck from Boston Garden on there. I still to this day, I just platinum Ghost of Yote on the PlayStation 5. I do a weekly podcast called Three Dads and a Console, which is happily named after the movie Three Dads and a Baby. And I just changed
Three Men and a Baby. Not
Three Men and a Baby, sorry, yeah. And I changed it. Even our logo, if you look at our podcast logo, it's carbon copy of the cover on the VHS. Except instead of a baby, we have a Super Nintendo.
It's a console.
Yeah. But
man,
I'm a big read comics. I play video games. My daughter is huge into Pokemon. I collect hockey cards.
To be honest, you probably keep up with more modern stuff than I do. I still have an Xbox 360, and I'm still playing NHL 14. And I just can't seem to care to graduate past that.
Oh, I love video games. For me, it's about the storytelling. I really like the PlayStation for that, the single player campaign. The Last of Us, for a perfect example. When it came out, my daughter wasn't born yet. It came out, the first release of it was PlayStation 3, 2014, 2015. My daughter was born in 2016. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is a video game because the story is so compelling. The TV show, honestly, like anything with books, the book is always better. The video game usually is better. The video game is more drawn out like a book or a story. Like I find even with comics, when they get transferred to movie.
Yeah, it's really difficult, I think, especially for video games to get adapted because the whole experience of a video game is about you controlling the storytelling. Whereas, now you're getting this definitive version of it being told to you, and you've already experienced this. in a better format, and you've spent a lot more time with it. I think video games are probably the hardest thing to adapt in a great way to film.
100%, especially The Last of Us, because I know it was very popular when it hit HBO. I knew season 2 wasn't going to be as good because the second game wasn't as good. Because it's hard to grab how profound that first game is, where you have, I don't want to spoil it. There's a very, very sad thing that happens at the very beginning that kind of like jumps off to be the motivation for the whole thing. And when I'd played the game on PlayStation 3, on the PlayStation 4, finished it. They re-released it on the PlayStation 5, and it was the first time playing it as a dad. And I had to put the controller down. I had to walk away. I had to come upstairs and hug my kid. Like it was a whole thing playing that one scene in the game where I was like, no, because I had a totally different, I knew it was coming, but to feel it differently. And I think that's one of the things that I love about comics and movies that I don't get from hockey. Hockey gives me that feeling of something that I enjoy. When I read comics, it can take me to a different place. Like Batman, to me, he's just a cop. That's all Batman is. He's just a detective. 100%. It just happens to be wearing the cowl because he's normal. He's a human. He can have blood.
Kind of like if a genius Olympian became a detective.
Exactly. And one of the things that draws me to Batman is because he does have faults. A lot of as much as I'm more of a DC than Marvel, I know everybody's got their thing, but besides Superman, DC usually has the more grounded character. I like a grounded character.
Well, that's funny you say that. Most people would say Marvel. I would say Marvel has more grounded characters than DC.
See, besides, when I think about it, one of their most famous characters who's Canadian is Wolverine. He's not really grounded, but he kind of is. But I think Marvel has way too much of the space and especially what they're doing with the movies half the time. I'm just like, all right, like
modern Marvel is a whole different thing.
They've jumped the shark.
The basis of Marvel characters was, Spider-Man's like the everyman character.
Yes, but he shoots spider webs depending on the version of him.
Well, if anything, though, DC's got a lot more of those cosmic characters.
They do now. But when I remember, besides, it's interesting, I guess.
Well, it really depends what era, I guess, we're talking about. So the era that I really liked, I see what you mean. There was more of a good mix, I felt, with grounded stories and fantasy type, space cosmic type stories. And then DC at that point in time, I think 89 Batman really ushered in, you got the height of Vertigo, you got all of these more grounded comics and more of these grounded, grittier characters and less of the cosmic stuff. And now it's a lot more of the cosmic type.
Yeah, because Marvel movies made it stuff like, oh, we have to do this, right?
Yeah. And then now with Marvel movies, I've been kind of checked out of comic book movies for a while. I know this is weird probably because it's this comic book radio.
Have been terrible. I understand.
But I'm hitting a point where I go, and I never thought I would have felt that way. I'd say, okay, that's it for I don't need to see any more. If they're going to be like this, I don't need any more to come out.
Did you watch Matt Reeves' The Batman? Because that is unbelievable.
Dude, I've been turned off from comic movies since Thor Ragnarok, so I haven't seen anything from that point on.
So I'll tell you this right now: Matt Reeves' The Batman is one of the best depictions of Batman in film ever. Like, to me, 1989 Batman, if I watch it back now, it's very campy, but that's what the 80s were. And I love it because I think Tim Burton kind of portrayed Batman different than we'd ever seen on the silver screen. He went dark with it, which is unfortunate because they didn't for the remaining of the Batmans after that. They kind of went a little bit more poppy, and it kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, because he went way, way too dark in Returns, and that turned a lot of people off. I think it's kind of, way more experimental in terms of, especially the Penguin.
But Matt Reeves' Batman or Colin Farrell's Penguin, it's comic book personified. Like it's fantastic. Matt Reeves' Batman is the way they use the score to tell the story and the way they design their scenes look straight out of a comic book. Instead of making it a movie to look on the silver screen, they make a comic book come to life in a movie. It's like, I watch it sometimes and I'm just like, I'm blown away on Matt Reeves' vision because he grounds it again. His Riddler is grounded. I can't wait to see his Dr. Freeze. To me, in my brain, Dr. Freeze is a serial killer that injects people with, some sort of freezing agent. I can't wait to see what he does in the next Batman movie, how he grounds Dr. Freeze and takes that story. But his Batman, like, Jesus, I never would have thought I would say this, but Robert Pattinson was fantastic as Batman. I wasn't a big fan of, and I know this is some people don't, but I wasn't a big fan of Christian Bale's Batman.
I liked his Bruce Wayne more than his Batman. I don't, to this day, like the voice that he did for Batman. I don't know why anyone would want him to do that voice. It's almost inaudible.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get him with Bane, who sounds like Sean Connery at the drive-thru, it's insane. I can't make heads or tails of it, because the most important thing in film, it's actually not how the picture looks, it's sound. It's first and foremost sound, how the sound comes across. Every single filmmaker will tell you that. If they can't hear it, if it sounds crappy, you actually perceive it to look worse than it is. So to have like Batman the whole time is insane.
I'm Batman.
He tried to do what Michael Keaton did, but Michael Keaton didn't lower his voice as much. He just changed it almost like an octane, and that was about it.
Yeah, and he monotoned it, and it was a little
he slowed
bit
himself down as Batman.
And he didn't talk a whole lot either.
Correct.
But once you get, and I mean, to me, definitive Batman is Batman the Animated Series.
Very good, yes.
And once you get Kevin Conroy in there doing the Batman voice, someone has to say, hey, Christian, maybe listen to this guy. Maybe talk to him. Maybe you get some pointers. Because what you're doing.
Yeah, trust me. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Christian Bale's Batman. I still say Michael Keaton's the best Bruce Wayne, and the best Batman is Robert Pattinson.
I'm going to have to say best Bruce Wayne, go back further, is Adam West.
See, my problem with Adam West is, someone who watched all those shows, I think with Adam West, because it was so campy, it would drive me nuts. The thing I loved about Keaton's Wayne was especially the scene. There's a scene in Batman 1989. They're sitting at the table, and he is at all the other end. And I actually have I call it the Batman dining room table because it's very long. And Vicky Vale says, can you pass the salt? And he gets up, and he's very quirky, and he's very awkward because Bruce Wayne has been secluded his whole life. He did something different with the character that you see in the comics, but you never saw on the silver screen. And he walks up and he gives her the salt, and then he comes back and he acts very awkward about it. And she's like, it's a nice room. And he's like, I don't think I've ever been in here before. Do you want to get out of here? Like, he straight up.
Yeah, and then they eat with Alfred in Alfred's
very
little
Batman moment. And Alfred's like his dad, right? So it was something we hadn't seen from the character. Adam West was very the Playboy Batman. And very 70s. Made sense. That made sense so far. That's what Christian Bale kind of bothered me, because he tried to be the Playboy, but at the same time, he tried to be serious. And it was like, you can either go one way. Adam West went Playboy way, and I think he did a phenomenal job. I think Michael Keaton went the awkward millionaire that's been secluded and doesn't know how to act in social settings.
Well, his Bruce Wayne is borderline psychopath. Like, if you really 100%. Pay attention to how he behaves and his interactions.
The line, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like,
yeah,
the best.
And I get that that's like him also playing up the scene to provide distraction, but it's freaking crazy when you sit there and go, but he's Bruce Wayne. That's a really weird thing for Bruce Wayne to do. And you're like, but he's totally in it.
He did a good job. I still say, like, I remember I was at there was an interview I was watching of Snyder and Capullo, and he goes, Michael Keaton Batman really inspired us for the new 52 series. And I was like, that makes sense to me, because I fell in love with that Batman. That was one of my favorite Batmans. Like, The Court of Owls is one of the best Batman stories ever told, and still no one's been able to do anything with it. They did a video game about it called Gotham Knights. It was absolutely terrible. Like, absolutely terrible. You have such a good storyline in Court of Owls, and they ruined it. It was like, what are you doing here? You made it this side thing. Court of Owls can't be a side thing. Court of Owls is this thing that what they did in the new 52 is they made it sound like it was there forever. They went back and went into Batman lore, and they took little Easter eggs and were like, that was the Court of Owls. And it connects all the dots and it makes you, as a Batman fan, go, oh my God. Like, it was unbelievable what they did with that storyline. Probably one of the best since The Long Halloween or Hush. Like, it's very good.
I've reached a point though. I'm convinced that modern filmmakers and studios can't adapt anything anymore. That they can't do it. And I know
How
it's
about this?
it's a very black pilled way for me to be, but I've seen so much at this point that has proven me time and
Watch
again that I'm
The
correct.
Batman for me. Just watch The Batman.
I'll
And
give it a shot.
I bet you'll be like, okay, Matt Reeves is cool. He
Okay.
gets it.
I'll give it a shot. Chat, what did you guys think of the Batman? I'll give it a shot.
I'm telling you, Matt Reeves gets it. I'm very hesitant. I did like the new Superman, but I did like it for the reasons that it was very comic-y and it was a different take on Superman because I didn't like the Superman iterations before because it's hard to do Superman. He's invincible. Like, that's why you don't get a Superman video game. See?
Yeah, I think Court of Owls was honestly the last comic Batman story arc I enjoyed, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, the whole once it got into like Rebirth and everything for
They
DC's
jumped the shark.
line, I just couldn't. And then I haven't checked back in since.
Well, you think about it, it's hard. It's very interesting with literature and the medium that we all love, right? Because there can be a time where an artist will do something and we're like, "Oh my god, that is unbelievable." And they've crescendoed. And then you're like, "Okay, you're going no matter what they do after Court of Owls, every storyline that hit Batman, I compared it to the previous." You know what I mean? There was nothing that could be done. And it's
So you think it
unfortunate.
set the bar too high?
100%.
And so now it's I could see that. I could see
Because
where
Death
that
in the
kicks in.
Family that they did at the end of it felt gimmicky to me because they were trying to, we killed Robin before, now we're gonna do something different. And I don't want to give it away, that very last comic, but when it happened at the very last issue, I'm like, well, that doesn't even make sense. Well, how would it end this way? Like, it just didn't make sense. It felt like I was watching a TV series that you've loved for so long, like Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld. And then the very last episode, I'm like, really? But it's because they had nothing else to do. They didn't know what else to do at that point. They ran out of ideas.
What I really think that would have been interesting instead of that last Seinfeld episode, because I've seen that series dozens of times too. If they wanted to have the whole get everybody back in and that kind of stuff, you could do that classic 80s plot of an institution is going under. So have Monks. Monks is going to go out of business. So you get everybody coming along to do some fundraiser for Monks, and you get all these people back in there, and there's some kind of something that gets stirred up and whatever.
You could
and
call
you can
back
have
to
it
the Ribbon episode. You could have fun
out.
with it.
Yeah, there's the way that they ended that was so strange, and it's unfortunate.
But if you watch Curb, they give you a new ending, which I really like.
Yeah, I saw that they did like that mini a couple of episodes of that, and then they kind of had the whole.
They give you the new ending that they say that the
way,
ending of Curb that season was the other ending that they were going to do.
What I like about that was keeping true to George's obsession with knowing where all the toilets are, and he invents the iToilet, and it's an app that you can find where the toilets are wherever you got to go, that you can get access to a restroom. I thought that was kind of
where he takes his shirt off because he's George.
Yeah, that was good.
See, Seinfeld is like, again, a show where every TV show after it, when they're like, oh, it's a comedy, I'm like, well, and then Curb came around. I'm like, well, makes sense that I think this is the funniest show since Seinfeld, but it's because it's still Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's like R-rated Seinfeld.
Modern Family was close. I really enjoyed Modern Family on TV. I thought the writing in that was brilliant. Like they had some jokes in there where you're just like, like Phil's character and all, he's a pervert. He is literally George McFly from Back to the Future through and through.
Yeah.
Yet no one can, like, I see it. I'm like, it's just like the same character. He's just a pervert throughout the whole thing.
What's really strange too, I think Modern Family and The Office, they both kind of had that same film style. And I think that has become like the standard now for all comedies. Like every single one of them looks like it came out of that universe of The Office. And there's something about that that kind of bugs me. Like I kind of I don't know. I can't get into like it. Everything's like on this weird, it feels like a shaky cam thing because it'll work for shows like The Office where you have someone that's filming. You have a crew that's filming this business. But for a lot of these shows where it's just that's how it's shot, it feels so strange when every single thing is like shot for shot the same style of something like The Office.
Because everybody wants to copy what
yeah,
was good, right?
yeah, it's weird.
Yet for some reason we had, well, me growing up, I had some of I had Transformers and GI Joe as cartoons, and yet they've never been able to replicate how good they were with any of the new modern, like my daughter even, the kids don't watch cartoons as much as they used to, which is interesting. They watch Bluey and then all of a sudden they go straight to YouTube. Like YouTube is taken over. My daughter watches more YouTube than anything else by far.
It's a depressing thing. You ever look on Saturday mornings at the old stations that used to play cartoons and all it is just news and stupid crap like that?
Well, because the kids aren't watching TV. I don't have cable.
Even just the basic broadcast. Like
I don't even have that though.
You
My
don't
TV
have an
is
antenna?
only hooked up to the internet. I have no antenna. I have an Apple TV hooked up to it, and that's the only way you're able to watch things. And it's pretty much Sportsnet is the sports app for here. So I have a Sportsnet app. I have YouTube Premium for obvious reasons. I do a lot with YouTube, and then I have we have Netflix, and we have Disney Plus, and I don't have much else. Like I have a 9-year-old daughter, so I need Disney Plus. Otherwise, I would lose my mind. And then I'll watch a lot of documentaries and stuff on Netflix. And then my buddy has a Plex server that I can get everything else from that he uploads. Otherwise, I'm watching a ton of sports, and I go to the movies a lot. I'm still one of those like the last remaining people that will go see a movie on day one. Like I love going to the movies. One of my favorite things.
Man. Yeah, I haven't been to the theater in years. Years. What was the last good movie you saw? That you would wholeheartedly recommend to somebody?
In the theater, I've seen a lot of bad movies with my daughter lately. I've seen anytime there's any, I don't know, she really liked Trolls, the last Trolls movie, and it was kind of fun, but I wouldn't say it would be a recommendation. That's the Batman.
Yeah, it's tough.
Or Top Gun Maverick. Actually, Top Gun Maverick. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I saw that on streaming afterwards. It was good.
I watched it in these AVX seats where your seat moves.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was unbelievable. But I've seen
that's like something like Universal Studios would have that with like Back to the Future, the ride.
So and it's interesting. I still love going to the movies. I've been on Back to the Future, the ride twice. And now it's Spider-Man. If you go to Universal Studios, the Spider-Man ride is back. Or sorry, Simpsons was there, and now they've turned it into something else. But a lot of the movies coming out, I'm like, I go see them, and I'm like, they're not good. It's very interesting to me. My brain is like turned off. I'm like, I grew up in the 80s and 90s when we got hit with so much media, movies and comics and everything. Yeah. And now it's like everything is like a 24, that studio. And I'm like, half the time, I'm like, am I just not smart enough to like this?
No, I think
everybody's like, this is critically acclaimed. I'm like, I don't know. It's boring. I don't care.
I think there's something weird. I have this conversation with a lot of people, usually within the business of storytelling, about how much storytelling is just a horrible, horrible thing nowadays for the most part. There's something that's gone awry, and none of us can really pinpoint exactly what it is because there's so many different facets to it. So you can't just blame the studio system. You can't just blame whoever wrote it. You can't just blame the audience's tastes, and maybe that's why they're trying to write for them. There's something strange that a lot of this stuff doesn't feel like it's tapping into the same vein that previous generations of storytelling did. And I think for all of us that remember enough of what that was like, it's a really difficult thing. And it's like you're saying, the 80s and 90s, this is the stuff that has become so iconic that now it's constantly being pilfered over and over again, to the point that you got a lot of franchises now running around in like a skin suit of what this thing used to be. And it's just sad and weird. Like, where's the creativity? Where's the originality? Where are the next generations of iconic films and stories and characters and all that stuff? What are they going to be remaking in 20 years? The same
Well, that's all
remakes
you
that they
get now.
remade? It's insane.
The new thing now is to take an old IP and just remake it, because think about it. We don't get classic John Candy comedies. We don't get a Ghostbusters. We don't get one of the greatest kids movies of all time with one of the hardest stories, because there's a part that kills every kid and we all have bad memories from it from the 80s, which is never ending story. But like, we don't get those anymore. Like, I always think
No.
about like, oh, my daughter's like, oh, I want to watch something. And then I go on to like Disney or whatever. And I'm like, where is there a new movie with a new story for kids? Like, it doesn't exist. And as kids in the 80s, we used to get some unbelievable movies.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think about Last Starfighter, Flight of the Navigator, The Never Ending Story. These are all original movies, original ideas. Red Dawn, all of this. We don't get any of that anymore. We get remake of this, superhero movie, remake of this, superhero movie, remake of this, superhero movie, remake of this. That's what we get. Or we get extremely serious art movies that I'm like, all right, like I get it. But a lot of the times what I'll do is my wife and I are like, it has to be a showstopper to go see it in the theater. Otherwise, I just buy it and I watch it at home, because I've got like a mini theater in my basement.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Totally. If anything, I'm going back now more and more because there's so much on streaming to just go to. And I'm finding stuff that's from like the 70s, the 60s, TV shows, films, whatever, that I didn't grow up with. And so nostalgia factor is not there. That doesn't play a part. I didn't grow up with a lot of this stuff. And now I'm like, wow, this is amazing. You know, like one of the things that obviously it's been referenced before, but with Seinfeld, I got into the Abbott and Costello TV show and Car 54. And those are like beat for beat the same kinds of things that's going on in Seinfeld. But I didn't grow up with those. And the only reason that I really think I enjoyed them so much was because of the fact that that style was carried over to the next generation of storytelling. I don't know who's being influenced by stories that are making stories right now, but I don't know how they're influenced by the same stuff that maybe we all were influenced by and loved. And then this is the stuff that's cranking out. It's hard for me to really understand how that happened. Like, where did we lose a generation in the mix of all of this?
Well, we had more of an attention span, right? I think about this, like the new stuff that comes out, it's all like, perfect example, K-pop Demon Hunters. There was like a week where my daughter thought this was the greatest thing in the world. She hasn't talked about it since. She moves
Yeah.
on like this. It's whatever's new. Give me something new. That's why I think YouTube does so well now with these kids, because it's a new video every week. Mr. Beast puts out a new video. Ryan Trahan puts out a new video. They get new content every week instead of like, here's the hot thing. There's nothing that stays in fad. Like Batman was a
No.
moment from 1999 when that movie came out. It was like a 2 years of all anybody thought about was Batman. We don't
Yeah.
have that anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, especially because the release date of when it would be out in theater and it'd be out there for a while, and then it would take like a year to go to VHS, and then it'd be like another year, maybe 2 till it's on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
So it's very interesting, the difference in the media, and it's the same with comics, movies, video games. Everything seems to be trying to catch up. Like even the new stories, like I haven't read. I know Batman started all over again, and I'm very curious. But I read some of the reviews, and people aren't like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing that they've done." People are like, "Eh, it's meh." I'm
it's
like,
an
"Oh,
overabundance of quantity over quality,
yep,
you
that's
know,
a very good." Yeah, I agree.
and it really
Happens a lot in
feels
hockey.
yeah, and it feels like what, especially the other night, they're like, you know, the Frozen Frenzy, and it's like all the teams are playing, and I'm like,
But no one knew. They didn't even
yeah, like,
advertise it.
and
And
then
yes, the Bruins won, but they beat one of the worst teams in the NHL. Like whoop-de-woo-wah. They still stink.
okay, this is where we get into the hockey conversation because we got a couple minutes left, and I have to talk hockey with you. I don't get to talk hockey a lot on this show, so if you're tired of talking hockey, which I hope you're not,
Never.
buckle up. Okay. Um, with what's going on right now, specifically with the Bruins, but not so specifically with the rest of the Eastern Conference, where every team looks like it's 1 point away from each other.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. How do you think the rest of this season is going to be shaking out? Like, and I don't just mean like where the Bruins going to fall in this or whatever, but what's going to be going on? Like, who's going to win that conference?
Who are the
let
frauds and
alone,
who are not?
Yeah.
I think the Montreal Canadiens are not frauds. I think they're a very good hockey team. I think the New York Island, the Buffalo Sabres are frauds. They're not that good. They're good for them. They'll be okay, but they're going to be a borderline playoff team. I think the Ottawa Senators are struggling, and it's interesting enough that it's Linus Ullmark's fault. Like, he's playing very bad. But hey, we signed the wrong goalie. Blah 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 blah. Ullmark does not look good this year. I like the Detroit Red Wings. I think they have a very good hockey club as long as they stay healthy. The Toronto Maple Leafs will figure it out. The Florida Panthers will figure it out. The Tampa Bay Lightning have a big uphill battle. They're what the Bruins were a couple years ago. They're almost like the exact same. So I would think Montreal, Florida, Toronto, there's your top 3 in the division. And then you've got Detroit, Tampa, Ottawa, Buffalo, Boston. Like, unfortunately, I don't see it with this Boston Bruins team. They're having an extremely hard time working the man-on-man that
I hate that.
Sturm. Well,
I hate it.
If they do it, it works. Because if you hate it, they did it for period 2 and 3 against the New York Islanders, and they won the hockey game. But in period 1, they're chickens with their heads cut off. The problem I find with this Boston Bruins team is if you're a goalie on this Boston Bruins team, ask for a trade, because they do not take anybody in front of the net. Like, the amount of countless goals that have been scored in the last couple of weeks, that if you press pause after the goal goes in, there is no Boston Bruins covering anybody in front of the net, and that person has a high danger chance free to the world. Like, people get mad at the goalies, or they get mad at Mason Lowry, and I'm always just like, you're always picking one player, but there's 5 of them on the ice, 6 of them on the ice at any given time, 6 including the goalie. And it was very interesting on looking at everybody's comments on what's going on in the game, and then me watching it. They're like, oh, Mason Lowry sucks. And I'm like, did you not see McAvoy, Tanner Jeannot, and Husadinov all behind? There was 4 of them behind the net on one of those goals. It was like, but you pick on the one guy over there in the corner when there was 4 of them back there.
Are you talking about the one where McAvoy basically has a hand on Lowry?
Yeah, but they're all back
into
there.
the
Tanner
corner.
Jeannot's back there. He's been terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell McAvoy was doing on that. He leaves coverage for the front of the net, and everyone gets mystified by what's going on in the
they
corner.
All got caught. McAvoy jumps into the play. No one covers the defenseman. The fact that Mason Lowry got back at all was pretty impressive, because he starts going into the play, and the puck ends up going chipped the other way because McAvoy loses the puck. Turnover is caused, but everybody stands still in quicksand, and then they all skate back. And instead of actually covering the man, it's like they all skated back to try and see who could touch the boards first. It was the weirdest thing I've seen, but I'm seeing a lot of breakdowns and deficiencies that don't need to happen, and they keep doing it over and over and over again. And it's mind-boggling to me that it continues to happen. And then people are like, this person sucks. This person sucks. I'm like, well, you know what? They all suck. Like, Pasternak and Geeks are going to get their points this year. Like, that's going to happen. Pasternak's going to get close to 50 goals this year.
Geeky's going to go 50, 50 goals in 50 games. That's what he's going to do.
But the Bruins won't even be a 500 hockey club.
Yeah.
They won't. And we're going to get a top 10 pick. We might get 2. If the Toronto Maple Leafs continue their worst goaltending in the NHL right now, because they do have the worst goalie tandem in the league right now, statistically, then the Bruins could have 2 top 10 picks in this draft coming up. And it's going to be one of the most deepest drafts in the last, since 2016, 2015. It's going to be
a great draft.
And they did great last year with Higgins and all those guys. Did great. We got Zellers. Got a great pipeline that they can build on. And in 3 years from now, the Boston Bruins will be a good hockey team again. Unfortunately, it'll be near the end of Pasternak's window, and he'll probably get moved out. But it is what it is.
Yeah. It's tough right now. It reminds me a lot of the Lewis years.
Oh, God. Dave Lewis was terrible.
That was tough.
Glenn Murray getting 27 goals. We're like, that's the best.
Yeah. That's when you're crying into your Pooh Bear jersey.
I never had one of those. I'll never. Oh, that's the ugliest jersey ever in the history of the NHL.
There's so much like love-hate for that jersey. It's incredible. I think that is on par with the love-hate with the Gorton's Fisherman Islanders jersey.
Yeah, that just has nostalgia. That's just like right up there with that Tampa Bay Lightning jersey that actually had lightning on it. Oof, that was a thing.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. You've had some good jersey talk I've seen on other shows.
Yes, my favorite, like I like a lot of jerseys. Like I really love the San Jose Sharks. I love the new St. Louis Blues. I think that new Blues jersey is fantastic. That Red Wings Heritage jersey, better than the Bruins Heritage jersey. That
Oh
Red
yeah.
Wings Heritage jersey
That
is
thing's beautiful.
so nice. But the new Bruins jersey, I think, is almost perfect, except they needed to have 2 shoulder patches, but instead they left one open for advertising. So whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. They're gonna look like the European team soon.
All NHL teams were. But I love the 1980s, early 90s Bruins look. That's my favorite Bruins jersey of all time. So I was happy they went to it, but I know not everybody else was. I did not like the last run of jerseys with the shoulders. I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it either. Oh, 2:00. You got to go. All right, man.
I do apologize. I will come back. How about that? I will come back.
Fantastic. We have to get into more of this stuff. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Court. Have a great day, man.
Thank you.
All the best. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for sticking with me today. I appreciate you joining me at the 1:00 Eastern time. It's 2:00 now, of course. Shotgun Scream. Spicer says KC is the greatest hockey player of all time. I was trying to think the whole time when you made that comment. I'm like, is there a hockey player with the initials of KC? I'm sure there is, but I can't think of one right now. Bonus points that mean nothing if you can give me a hockey player with the initials of KC before the show ends in just a couple minutes. And if not, leave it in the comments. Ben, thank you, man. Great talk. I hope to have Court on again. We got to have a deeper conversation, not just about hockey, but a couple other things too. I wanted to pick his brain about growing up with a dad that was an NHL player and how did that kind of shape his life. And I also wanted to pick his brain about his experience with YouTube, because his channel, which at the time when I had discovered it about a year ago, I didn't realize that that's when he started posting new videos again. I thought that because he came on board with a great setup, good camera, good lighting, good mic, and good pre-recorded content, I thought he'd been doing it for a while. And I didn't realize that he kind of started doing it again around the same time I discovered what he was doing. So maybe he has some pointers for a lot of the creators out there in the comic world for what they want to do with their videos. I know I hate making pre-recorded videos. I've tried and it's annoying. I'm not for it. But he's good at it. Shotgun Spicer says King Cryptid for sure. I know you're getting a King Cryptid, and I want to have a team eventually in the series for an issue. Not that we have a hockey issue necessarily, but referenced, called the New Hampshire Cryptids. Obviously a fictional team, but I do want to have that in the series at some point. That'll be fun. Make a jersey for it or whatever. That'd be cool. All right, guys. So that's it for today. No show tonight. Probably be back next week. And other than that, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I got remastered books that are in. Oh boy, I don't even have one at. How do I not even have one at arm's length to show you guys? Remastered Wave 2 books are in. They're shipping out starting tomorrow, and they'll be shipping out all during the weekend. We had one problem again. The Red Koi remastered book seemed to be cursed in some way. Last time we had a problem with Wave 1 with Red Koi being misprinted. There was a misprint in it, and I had to throw those out. And then they had to reprint them again. This time they've sent Red Koi number 2 for the remastered, and half of the run is just destroyed. It's rough. Like the damage that particular issue incurred is mind-boggling when I think about where it was positioned in the box. So hopefully they reprint those and we get that taken care of. But about half of those aren't going to be shipping out for about maybe 2, maybe 3 more weeks. But everything else will ship out. Everything else is here. It's just going to be a wait for a couple people with that red koi book. Otherwise, though, you're going to get your tracking notifications if you haven't already for the remastered Wave 2. Those shipments are going out. The books, the large majority of them are in here and are going to be going out starting tomorrow. So thank you guys again so much, everybody. And I'll see you when I see you. Until then, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend. Halloween tomorrow. Hope you guys have a fun one with that. And I'll see you soon. Take it easy, everyone. All the best.